name is Trevor, and here are my team members, Jihad, Anger, and Dave. The purpose of this presentation is to compare and to contrast the Nigerian and the British culture. And its main contents will include hegemony, ideology, semiotics, postcolonialism, identity. And first of all, I'd like to define culture. Culture is the people's way of life. According to Richard Hogarth, culture is where we live now. And the similarities between Nigeria and British is that both countries have culture, their way of life, the way they behave. And its difference is that British is multicultural, while Nigeria is not multicultural. Here we talk about the similarities and the differences between ideology in Nigeria and British. Yeah.
That's when I come in. Ideology, as you see from previous presentations, is sets of beliefs, values, and determined with reference to religion, political, social, and economic life. We have some points here about ideology. Ideology is seen as we know, the opinions of leaders from the government or from newspaper editors. What is the most influential thing that the government can use to influence the people? It's media. Media, such as the headlines in The Guardian, influence a lot of people. They delete information and put information on, and people are expected to believe that. And as Mr. Kevin Mathis said, if you push information and force it so much time, it comes true to the public. An example of this is ex-President Bozando. He has an authority that enforces authority to the people, and they have to obey to it. And the media as well enforces that theory. And then moving to the English one, as we've seen recently, the scandal of the news of the world, what happened to Robert Murdoch, shows and questions the media and whether we should believe what we read or not believe. Moving on to hegemony. Hegemony is the gaining concept of people without realizing that they are manipulated. In Nigeria, if you see it today, there is some religious confusion because there are different kinds of religions. You have the Roman Catholic, you have the Muslims, and you have the Lutheran, and some other religions that I don't even know. So that brings the confusion instead. When the British came to Nigeria, they had promises, they had an excuse for invasion. And that excuse was promises of exporting trades such as tin, cotton, cocoa, etc. But that never happened. And then moving on to the English culture, before I'll give you some history about it, they had the Roman, England was by the Roman Empire before King James came in and changed all of that. King James came and he didn't want England or Britain to be violent to anyone, so he created the Church of England in Canterbury, and that shows and illustrates that England is a unique Republican status. Now, I can be going.
Hey guys, I'll be talking about the identity for my presentation. Identity is culture, but it's not fixed, yeah? So over here, it's demonstrated in the pictures, like the identity, like the dress, the food, the dance. Like both the nations have their different cultures and identity. English people, they tend to be quite clean, but the Nigerians, they wear like a lot of colorful clothes. We have lots of Nigerian students in our class who are wearing colorful clothes. And the English people, they wear lots of hats, white clothes, make themselves clean, tight, and neat and tidy. But if we take the food, English people eat a lot of, like, English people don't eat spicy food, they like plain foods, but if you go to Nigeria or any African country, they eat spicy food. A lot of spicy foods are there. They have the different types of dances. Nigerian people have lots of cultural dances, but if you come to the British culture, they have the ball dances, which is like they perform in some weddings or some other occasions. But if you go to Nigeria, they have dance for each and every culture. There are lots of cultures in Nigeria. Southern part, northern part, east, west, they have different kinds of dances. Now, I would like to talk about the languages in both nations. English people speak English, Nigerian people also speak English, but there are lots of differences. When British Empire took over Nigeria in 1914, they changed the language. They said, we're going to speak English now because we are in control. Nigerian has the three major languages: Igbo, Yoruba, and Hausa. But when British came into power, they built in lots of English schools, colleges, universities, so that they can change their languages, because they felt that they're trying to helping them, and they want to change their cultures, and they change their language, because they felt that English is superior from every other language in the world, that point of time, and even in today. Even if you come to England, as it's mentioned in the map over there, in England people speak in English, but if you go towards north, they have a heavy accent. If you go towards York, they have different sort of English. You can easily pick up, like, he is speaking different. He comes from like different part of the nation. But if you go towards Wales, they speak Welsh.
Yeah, I'm going to talk about semiotics. Semiotics is the study of science, which the meaning is constructed and interpreted. You can see that the British and the Nigerians, they have signs. With, like, the flag is one of the signs. You can see that the green symbolizes agriculture. They have a lot of crops, and the white symbolizes peace and unity. The British flag, the white is peace and honesty, and the red means heart, names, bravery, strength, and valor, which means courage. The blue symbolizes vigilance, truth, loyalty, perseverance, and justice. We can see here that the military forces, both of them are different. These are the dresses for the British, and these are dresses for the Nigerian military force. Gender, we can see that gender is not fixed. According to Freedom 2003, gender is not fixed. It's length, behavior, values, and attitude of both men and women. Okay, for example, in the division of labor in Nigeria, we can see that men in the Igbo society, men, they see yam as men's crops, white cassava and beans, they see it as women's crops. We can see in the 1760s and in the 1860s, in the British, when men, like here, men are masculine, so they are encouraged to go for war, while the women, they are feminine, and they are encouraged to take care of the family, the homes. Like, for example, in the British, women were allowed to go for education, but they were not allowed to go to public schools. While in Nigeria, women were not even encouraged. In the 1970s, in the 1760s and the 1860s, they were not allowed to go to school, but they were allowed to stay and cook for the men, like this. And this is lady taking care of her family, like I said earlier. And the guy who is masculine, they are encouraged to go to war, while the women are to take care of their homes.
Okay. Last part is post-colonialism, which is the effect of power. It deals with the effects of colonization and cultures and societies. After the British left Nigeria, there is some influence that happened to it. For example, the name of Nigeria was given by a British lady called Flora Shaw on the 18th of January 1979. And it's still called Nigeria to this day. Also, the Nigerian national anthem as well is created by the British. Nevertheless, the Nigerians went back to their cultural pre-colonials, which are their dresses, their foods, their, for example, dances and language. Some languages still speak languages before the British came. But still, English is the most popular language in Nigeria and still was introduced by the British. And there's a video clip that shows the independence of Nigeria. Just a second.
(1960) Nigerian independence. From then on, colonialism in Africa was, for all intents and purposes, history. The celebration was a tribute to both pasts, the traditional past and the colonial past.
For some final words on independence, here is the Prime Minister of the Federation.
1960 is a very great year for Africa and for Nigeria. But we should be able to, in our heart, continue to retain the friendship of our friends, the friendship of the African nations, and the friendship of the world as a whole.
The English left behind the concept of one nation, a common language, English, and a government structure based on the parliamentary system. The task now, to combine the many different traditions and make Nigeria real.
Finally, I would like to conclude with the British and the Nigerian cultures is ordinary, the way people behave and their way of life, which deals with the power, influence and dominance to hegemony to spread. It spreads the idea to the society. And before finishing my presentation, I would like to say a very famous quote by Annans. The reason why the sun never sets in the British Empire is the God doesn't believe the British in the dark.